So hi everyone, welcome to the Electric Vehicle Shopping Guide. I've got with me today Michelle Pierce. I'm really excited. And Michelle is a retired electrical engineer and passionate electric vehicle advocate living in Southern California's Inland Empire, which happens to be one of its most polluted landlocked areas out in the suburbs. Michelle, the main purpose of this Facebook page is to help people who are brand new to electric vehicles. And so what I'd like to talk to you today about is some very basic things, starting with the EV you drive, what EV you drive, what your range is, and how you charge it.
Okay, thanks for having me on, Zan. It's really great that you're doing this. I was really excited when I saw your page. I'm driving a 2020 Chevy Bolt, and the range that the 2020 and the ones after that get is 250 miles. And I love driving the Chevy Bolt. It's in the middle of a recall right now, but it's not something I'm too concerned with. I follow the guidelines.
And why aren't you concerned? I'm going to influence your answer, but would it be because almost every car maker has recalls?
Exactly. And when you look at the total number of Bolts that were built versus how many have had the issue of the battery fires, it's really minuscule, and their recommendations really are, how do I put it? They're sound in terms of what they're required. I don't have access to charging at where I live, so I have to rely on public charging. So I don't charge to 100% anyway. I don't park my car in the garage when it's charging because I have no garage. For me, it's easy to do. The hardest part is not getting below the 70-mile range. On longer trips, sometimes I kind of go beyond that, but I generally don't go below the recommended 70 miles anyway. So for me, it's perfect. And I've already gotten notice about the software updates available to alleviate from that. And then I think they're still in the 2018 year, maybe more, for actually replacing the battery. And I think that for me, the fact that General Motors is being so proactive with his whole situation, it just gives me more confidence in the car. I'm old enough to know of some previous cases, pre-EV times, where it took a long time. It probably took the law enforcing some manufacturers to follow through on fatal incidents. So the fact that Chevy has stepped up and is actually replacing all of the batteries that are affected gives me a whole lot of confidence in the Chevy Bolt.
And I think I just read this last week that they're going to be certifying this replacement and sending everyone a window cling. In other words, something that you kind of showing your car that I've got a new battery, I'm good. Yeah. Whether you take it to be repaired again or to a valet or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. And for a lot of people, that's why they got frustrated, is they're the opposite of me. They have to park in a covered parking or a garage, and they were up against, well, you can't park here. Well, where do you expect me to park? Kind of thing. So, so hopefully those people got their batteries first, or I think in those cases, a lot of times Chevy was doing a buyback offer. I have no idea how they worked because I wasn't willing to give up my Bolt. So it never crossed my mind. So
well, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more, because really it's fairly rare to have someone that does only public charging. We've got a friend here on the west side, but But how does that work? I mean, do you have to sit there for, well, do you use mostly fast charging? How does that work for you?
For me, I find that I have my favorite spots. In the beginning, I was kind of like, you know, wherever I was, I would just plug in. But I started realizing that some locations are a lot more expensive than others. And so I just learned through time in the first, like, okay, I have to put this caveat in that I bought my Bolt in January, at the end of January 2020. And we all know what happened in March 2020. So I went, you know, here I am. Oh, wow, I don't have to worry about my Leaf anymore with a short range. I now have a long range Bolt. And then COVID hit and I was working from home. So during COVID, I wasn't driving that much in the beginning. And so I just go to, you know, I'd go shopping. There's an EVgo, I would plug in and charge and then come get it. Or I'd go charge at a level 2 at, you know, like a Volta or whatever. So it was a learning process, but now I have a system and I have this favorite location that's the least expensive and it's a DC fast charging only.
Right.
They don't have any level 2. And I go there a couple times a week and charge my car. And I think the rate at that location is so much lower that I've seen this other car there recently a lot, a new Mustang Mach-E. And I'm guessing he realized that, oh, I can fast charge for a lot cheaper than I can plug my car in at night. So this location, we'll see how long it stays at a low price. But for me, it's working and I can walk to a grocery store and I have done it before. I walk to, there's fast food and other amenities, walking distance. But in general, I get my meal, you know, and I sit, plug in and eat, check Facebook, I'm done and I go home.
So we're looking at maybe 20, 30 minutes, would you say?
Usually I wait till the Bolt is, they limit the speed of the charging, so it ramps. So after about 65% full, it really slows down. So it takes about 45 minutes for me to charge from, say, like 40% to 80%. So it takes about 45 minutes for me to charge. But believe me, I spend so much time checking Facebook, sometimes I forget to look up and it's beyond 80%.
I bet. So really, as you said, it's a couple times a week, 45 minutes each, and you probably don't let it, I mean, that sounds like you're getting a full charge in 45 minutes, but you probably don't let it sort of drain all the way down.
No, I you know, like I said, that requirement for the battery situation, I wait till it's about 80, 90 miles of charge, which is about a third of, like, I get down to a third, and then I go to the fast charger. I do also do opportunity charging. You know, if I'm at, say, a Target that has a Volta and there's nobody there, I'll plug in.
Right.
Or, you know, Vons. There's quite a few coming in, and usually because Volta is also, it's mostly all level 2 and mostly all free. So it's kind of called opportunity charging because I don't need the charge necessarily, but I'm here, it's open. I'm going to plug in and go do my shopping and then come back. I have in the past, I have used Volta as my main charging source.
Mhm.
And I have been in situations where this one guy, obviously, every Sunday he would go to this one shopping center and plug his car in, and that, you know, retired, very, probably didn't do a lot of driving during the week, but that's every Sunday he was there charging his car, and there was actually a wait, like the 2 or 3 cars waiting. So it's like, wow, that's good to see that charging is needed. In this wasn't Inland Empire, this was in San Diego County, but it was interesting to see people are willing to wait to charge, when it's free, especially.
And the last time I checked, I haven't checked in a while actually, but I just wanted to talk about cost a little bit. Generally speaking, I think what we've said is that it costs about a $1.50 equivalent per gallon gas. In other words, to charge an electric car. In other words, if you were just charging at home, the cost of that electricity would be equivalent to about $1.50. Now, but a lot of public charging, there's an additional fee so that the company that installed that charger can have a business. But is it still, I'm going to ask you a very general question, is it still cheaper than buying gasoline?
Actually, depends on where you charge. And I think that's why I realized I'm better off going to that one charger that I go to. It is in front of a public agency. It's open to the public, but it's in front of a local city hall. And I do know a lot of them, there was a lot of grants out there, and I'm guessing that's why they can afford to have the cost per kilowatt hour so low, is that they probably got a grant to install it, so they don't need to recoup that cost to install it.
Right.
But then there's other city halls that it's twice or more than that particular one. So it really does depend. I use PlugShare when I going to an unfamiliar charger, or I forgot how much does this place charge, and PlugShare, the app PlugShare, will tell you how much it costs, so you know before you go how much it costs to charge there. And every charger should have some type of button that tells you, if you push that button, it should tell you how much it costs to charge at that station. EVgo is a little different in that it's all done, most of it's done through the app, so I'm not absolutely positive of like the EVgo and Electrify America. I'm not absolutely positive if you can check ahead of time, but I know Electrify America will, I'm pretty sure it tells you ahead of time, but you have to plug in first, I think. I'm not positive.
I see.
I
So
usually,
their chargers, EVgo and Electrify America, are on the PlugShare network, but they might not share what their fee is.
exactly.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, because all those ones say check app to,
Right.
because I think it's regional, and like San Diego, I noticed was higher cost for EVgo than the Inland Empire cost for EVgo, but that was a couple years ago, so I'm not sure if it's still that way.
Right.
But you have to be aware. There's one charger where I thought I was doing opportunity charging on a level 2. It turned out to be crazy expensive because they charge you just to plug in, and this is a level 2. And so I'm assuming, well, they just don't want people stopping there. This is at a car dealer. So to thwart just average people from just going to plug in, they put the high upfront cost.
Right. Well, all of this, it makes me think of two things. One of them is that, gas station prices vary from region to region as well.
Exactly.
There's no different there. But another convenience of electric vehicles, there's no such thing as a PlugShare for gas stations.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. You can't take out your phone and say, well, where's the cheapest gas station near me? And by the way, is it open right now? And et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. PlugShare is awesome. I that's my Bible, I tell people. And I noted at public chargers, used to be more earlier in like in 2012 era, at my first car, EV, people would talk more. But still, like when I saw the guy in the Mach-E the first time, it's kind of like, oh, I need to talk to him and ask him about his car. I saw Rivian the other day too at that same charger. So a lot of them, they didn't, or I know the Rivian guy didn't know that about PlugShare, so I told him. So that's what I tell people when I see them, when I talk to them. Oh, you should check PlugShare, because I think for a lot of people it's their first electric vehicle, so they don't know. They know, like Rivian is, I think it's so, he said he had a charge point card or something to that effect because he worked at Rivian. And so he knew about the ChargePoint app, but he didn't know about PlugShare.
Interesting.
So
Awesome.
So when I do talk to people, I always tell them about PlugShare.
And speaking of talking to people, that's really kind of the backbone of National Drive Electric Week. And I wanted to discuss that. We need to sort of finish up, but I wanted to end up on that. And I just wanted to say here that you have been an active participant. And for anyone who doesn't know, of course, National Drive Electric Week is basically test drives all across the country put on by volunteers every September. Plug-in America, Sierra Club, and Electric Auto Association presented. It's not just test drives. Sometimes it's panels. Sometimes it's just car demos. But you've been very active in that, and in fact, you even led an effort to organize an Inland Empire Electric Vehicle Association. And you all guys put on your own event. I guess it was 2019 was the first one.
Yes.
You did that, right? Mm-hmm. So can you just give people, again, talking to someone who doesn't own an EV yet, why these events are useful and helpful?
They're so important because I know firsthand driving, the physical ability to drive one sells the car. I knew I always wanted an EV, always thought I can't afford it. And my very first time driving was it wasn't necessarily a National Drive Electric Week event. It was before. This is 2012. And it was put on by one of the Clean Cities groups. Mm-hmm. And I got to drive a Leaf. Before I drove the Leaf, I did not want a Leaf. I wanted, I wanted something else. But back then there wasn't a whole lot of choice. And I drove the Leaf. Within 6 months, I figured out my finances and got myself a Leaf just because that test drive. Wow. So when I found out about National Drive Electric Week, I went, I think the first time I went was like 2014, not absolutely positive, but then I joined the Electric Vehicle Association of Southern California, who put that National Drive Electric Week event together, and then have been involved since about 2015 directly with either helping to put on an event or putting on an event myself. It is so important to do that face to, and this is what's so bad about COVID. Yeah. So that face to face makes so much difference when you get to talk to somebody that is driving an electric vehicle and actually experience it. It makes a world of difference. And I see the look in people's faces when you tell them, they kind of get excited and then they drive it and it's like, wow. So the experiential part of National Driver Electric Week is crucial. And then it also helps to have the information, like in 2020, everything was online. So we would get, I know for both the EV AOSC and the Inland Empire EVA, we put together people from the outside coming to mostly like talk about incentives and so on. So there's so much information to share and get other people excited, but the best experience actually is driving. So that's why I put so much effort into trying to get the ride and drives together.
Yeah, awesome.
That answers your question.
It does. And you mentioned COVID, and that was my last question, is whether you have something planned or you're starting to plan something for this September, given COVID, or anyway.
Yeah, the few months ago, and since they pushed the National Driver Electric Week back to the end of September, our event was actually October 3rd, I think. And it was difficult, but we did manage to put a ride and drive together. Tesla came through for us because we have the added issue of supply chain problems and dealers not having cars in stock, or EVs in stock especially. The demand is super high right now. So it was difficult putting that event together, but Tesla showed up with 3 Model 3s. So probably like 50, 60 people. Can't remember numbers. I might be overestimating, but a lot of people got the experience of driving a Tesla. So it was a really good event. And we are still planning the Drive Electric Earth Day event in April. We don't know where. And I'm speaking only for the Inland Empire EVA, not the other club. And once we get through Drive Electric Earth Day, then we'll start working on National Drive Electric Week for September, October.
Great. Yeah, I was just posting about that today, that National Drive Electric Week has an Earth Day version. And all of this information could be found through Plug in America, or just Googling National Drive Electric Week and tack a Earth Day event onto that. And there you'll find lots of information.
Right. Yeah. It's especially out in the Inland Empire where, big companies don't like to come out here because we just don't have the population. Like LA, you're guaranteed lots of people to come, right? But because the Inland Empire is kind of spread out and the population isn't as dense, it's hard to get people to come out to demonstrate or to do whatever. And so it's even more important for us as volunteers to bring the information out here. So.
Well, I can't agree more. I'm, having been in this for a while, I'm always looking for ways not to preach to the choir, So thank you so much for all you do.
Oh, thank you.
You bet. Great to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, Sam.
All righty. Take care.
Bye.